Unification of Communication. The video arcade. Here is a short story about Nico, an arcade manager who discovered that the real problem was never on the screen, but in the mind of the one holding the controller. Nico ran a bright old video arcade called the Electric Kingdom. It was packed with glowing machines, blinking scoreboards, racing games, dance pads, claw machines, and co-op adventures that filled the room with jingles, beeps, and cheerful chaos. Above the front counter hung a hand-painted sign: "All seeming problems are solved through true communication." Most customers ignored it. They came for the games, but Nico had begun to notice something strange. The arguments in the arcade were never really about the games. One boy blamed the steering wheel, a girl blamed the slow buttons. Two brothers blamed each other for losing a battle. A teenager shouted at a machine, "This game is impossible!" Yet the screens were only showing pictures. The trouble always seemed to begin before the hands hit the controls. One rainy afternoon, a new game appeared in the very center of the arcade. Nico was certain it had not been there the night before. Its glowing title read, "Unification of Communication." The cabinet was taller than the others, trimmed in gold and blue lights. It had no scoreboard, no timer, and no winner sign. Instead of separate controllers, it had two soft glowing handpads and a single message across the screen. Two players, one purpose. Nico called his friend Elena from the snack counter. "Come try this with me." They placed their hands on the pads. The game began. At once, the screen filled with floating obstacles labeled misunderstanding, defense assumption, right, wrong, projection, boundary of fear. Nico moved his hand quickly. "Go left." Elena moved right. The screen flashed, limited communication detected. Then the obstacles multiplied. "What?" Nico said. "I told you what to do." Elena folded her arms. "You told me. You didn't communicate with me." The game froze. Then a line appeared across the screen. "The mind thinks. Spirit knows." Nico and Elena looked at each other. "That's a strange thing for an arcade game to say," Elena whispered. A new message appeared. "Try again. Release the need to be right." They restarted. This time, Nico slowed down. Instead of barking instructions, he asked, "What do you see?" Elena answered, "A barrier shaped like blame." "I see one called assumption. Let's move together." As they spoke honestly, the obstacles shrank. The cabinet glowed brighter. Then a row of flashing forms appeared. Angry faces, broken bridges, speech bubbles, and walls. Nico reached out instinctively. "The forms are the problem." The game buzzed loudly. "Error. There is never a problem in form, only a belief in mind." The walls on the screen faded, revealing words behind them. "I am not heard. I must defend. You are against me." Elena read them softly. "So the game is showing beliefs." Nico nodded. "And the forms are only acting them out." The next level opened. A deep tunnel formed on the screen, ring within ring, like descending circles. First came images. Under the images came feelings. Under the feelings came thoughts. Under the thoughts came beliefs. And at the center was a glowing golden word. Desire. Nico remembered something he had nearly forgotten. What mattered most was not winning the game, but what he truly wanted. The screen asked, "What do you desire?" Nico looked at Elena. "I want true communication." Elena smiled. "Me too." The center light expanded. Immediately, the game changed. The obstacles no longer rushed at them. The path opened. The two handpads glowed as if they had become one circuit. A message appeared. Knowing is loving. Loving is communication. Now, the game moved effortlessly. Nico did not need to force. Elena did not need to protect. They simply stayed connected, speaking clearly, listening gently, and moving from the same purpose. Whenever Nico slipped back into control, the screen flickered. Whenever Elena pulled into silence, the path narrowed. But whenever they returned to kindness, the course opened again. Soon a final challenge appeared. A giant flickering boss called Fault Finder. It had hundreds of eyes and a booming digital voice. "Search for error," it roared. "Point out differences. Prove yourself right." Nico almost laughed. "That machine sounds familiar." Elena answered, "Truth Finder is quieter." The game asked, "Which guide will you follow?" Under the Fault Finder, a smaller golden light appeared, almost easy to miss. It did not shout. It simply glowed with the words, "Spirit of Kindness." Nico and Elena chose the golden light. At once, the giant Fault Finder dissolved into harmless pixels. The screen became clear. The final message appeared in great radiant letters. Pure communication is an expression of love in the heart. The cabinet doors swung open, and instead of coins, prizes, or tickets, one simple card dropped into the tray. Nico picked it up. It read, "Do not depend your own limited view. Let spirit speak through you." From that day on, Nico left the strange cabinet in the center of the arcade. Customers who played it often came away than before. Some laughed, some cried, some apologized to each other, some finally listened. And Nico noticed that the happiest players were never the ones trying hardest to win. They were the ones willing to join. He changed the sign above the front counter. It now read, "Unification of Communication, one purpose, no barriers." Then, in smaller letters below, he added, "The mind thinks, spirit knows." And every time the arcade lights blinked on, Nico remembered that true communication was not about being right, not about fixing appearances, and not about mastering the game of form. It was about allowing love to move freely where fear had built a wall. May we sing, rest, and dance our way home together.